Hey guys, CEO here, with the world record for Bomberman Generation. The previous world record was held by KirkQ for about a year. Um, it was a 1:45:23, I believe. This run's gonna be a 1:44:23, I think, off the top of my head. So first things first, I didn't really care for my live audio very much when I was doing this. If you're interested in seeing my live commentary that I tried to do for this run, just check out my Twitch because it's on there. But for the purposes of this run, I wanted to kind of edit my live commentary out, except for the very end of the run where I'm super hyped and excited that I actually got the world record because that was kind of cool. Um, So I'm just going to try to do my best and explain everything that needs to be explained in this game. I have notes, so hopefully I'll be able to stick to them pretty well. Um, as of a couple of, I want to say probably about a month ago now, I guess, people have been interested in picking up this game. Before that, it was basically just me running the game. KirkQ came in for a little while and ground out the original world record for this, but to my knowledge, he hadn't really played it very much since then. So I've mainly been the only person who's been trying to optimize the game at all. So I'll be trying to explain everything that I can. The general route for this game, as you can see by my splits off to the side, is kind of weird. Um, for those of you that don't know, um, you can choose between World 1 Level 1, World 2 Level 1, and World 3 Level 1 starting off. We're going to be hopping around between the three worlds to try to get Palmy as fast as possible. I'll be explaining this as I go, but Palmy is a Charabom. I'll explain what Charaboms are. That gives us remote control, which lets us detonate bombs whenever we want to. Normally, bombs have an about 4 second timer. I think it's close to like 3.5 seconds technically, but it's basically a 4 second timer. So the beginning part of the game is just optimizing and making sure that you're not standing around. Um, if I remember right, my World 1 Level 1 in this run is actually kind of sloppy because I was trying to do live commentary for everything, and it just wasn't really working out very well. Um, so what you want to do is just try to pick up as many power-ups as you can in this beginning part of the world. Um, Pretty much everything you need is going to be on the way. I actually tried to save a little too much time here and threw the big bomb a little too far away. I don't think it's going to blow up this rock because I put it too far. Oh, it is. Okay. That little throw kick setup, that was actually the first time I'd ever done that, but it seems like it's consistent for getting through this part pretty quickly. So coming up, we're going to be getting our first Charabom of the run. You can't actually even see it on the screen right now, but in the bottom right corner of the game screen, there will be a Charabom menu after we get Antler. Charaboms are basically a power-up that you equip to yourself, more or less, that gives you a little bit of extra juice compared to what you would normally have. That damage boost that I took in the previous section, by the way, it actually saves a half a second because you don't have to wait for the bomb explosion to go away. Just thought I'd throw that out there. But back to Antler. Antler is going to be giving us Power Glove, which lets us throw higher and farther. You can also do a couple of pretty interesting techniques with him. I'll be explaining those as I have to do them, I guess. I'll explain one at the end of the level, actually. But coming up out of the Antler cutscene, you're on an extremely tight timer to get across the upcoming logs and get the speed up optimally, I guess. So as this is loading, basically hold to the left and do a quick switch to your Charabom. The C-stick's actually kind of used a lot in this game because you can switch really quickly between Charaboms and bombs when you get other ones. So equip your Charabomb and just flick the C-stick. Um, if you chain your bombs together right there, you stand a better chance of being able to get this optimal cycle coming up. Um, but ideally, you're going to want to throw a bomb across before you cross this bridge right here. I kind of wussed out because I didn't think I was going to have enough time, but you can see how close it is. I forgot I actually clipped through here. That's funny. That's also the only time I've ever clipped through that jar, like to the other side. I didn't think it was possible. So this minigame is for the first bomb merge item. We unfortunately have to get all of the elemental bombs in the run because there's checks, basically, in World 4 and World 5 to make sure you have everything. Luckily, for the most part, the minigames aren't too bad. The last one's kind of a pain, but this first one, you literally just drop down and land on a log, and that's the minigame. So for this part coming up, it looks like it would be faster to just run into the stump and get back over there as fast as possible, but we're actually going to be picking up a permanent heart pickup and an extra Charabomb feed right there. That log that we caught to cross right there was actually the first one that we could catch anyway, because the game takes like 7 or 8 seconds to spawn a log there. So luckily you have just enough time to get that jar, that feed, and get over there and not have to worry about messing it up. This mini-boss is supposed to be annoying because you're supposed to throw bombs over those roots that keep dropping. But you can do a technique called forward dropping right here to set up your bombs really easily. What you want to do is hold a bomb in your hands with A, and then roll your finger basically off of A onto X, and then off of X. And what Bomberman will do is he'll put a bomb down in front of him and then just kind of drop it. You actually have to use this technique to get through the game anyway, but the game doesn't really expect you to abuse it as much as you can, I guess. So the timing for these worm cat things is actually significantly tighter than it looks, because their hitbox for actually turning right is really awkward. This is pretty tight timing from what I remember. Like, I actually did it okay. But you basically just want to have the bombs set up either when they're just getting hit by something, because the timing will work out, or when they just turn to the opposite direction of where you want to go. It's not too bad, but it is kind of awkward. Pick up this extra feed down here while you're waiting for this guy to go through. You can see that I stopped there, but that's because the game made me stop. So now we have Charabomb battles. I actually got extremely lucky in Charabomb battles in this game. What you basically want to do is go up to Get Wild and then press A, and then go to Skillfully, which is the next selection, and press A. And then I think Raid Guard is your third turn, but basically you just go up to Get Wild and mash A, and hope that the computer picks the same thing as you. I actually got pretty lucky, and I believe got it in both of the battles that I needed it in, so I saved about 8 seconds total. It's not really a big deal if they don't pick the same thing as you, it just saves time, and you have like a 1 in 6 chance of saving time for each battle, I think. So if you have a bomb in your hands and start throwing right there, you'll pretty much always get that setup. KirkQ doesn't use that setup. Him and I actually have a pretty different route through this part. I only like to use 3 bombs here because it makes at least for me, it makes the chances of there being a feed that disappears right there go down. I think KirkQ might be right. He commented on one of my YouTube videos I put up either the day before yesterday or yesterday, I don't even remember at this point. but you're able to kind of have feeds despawn on you sometimes. By the way, that speed that I picked up right there is a bonus feed if you throw from the exact position that I was at in the previous part. It's pretty difficult to actually pick up that feed because you have to have a really precise throw, so I just thought I'd throw it out there. No pun intended until I laughed at it before, I guess. Um, so coming up here, KirkQ picks up a fire up right here. Because my route is slightly different, I actually get a fire up in the next level and instead get a bomb up and 3 extra Charabom feeds. As you'll see later in the run, every single one of these feeds was necessary, so I like to go out of my way and be quote-unquote over-leveled. So you can get a 2-cycle on this guy. It's slightly RNG dependent because you have to wait for the camels to actually let you charge your big bomb. But just put it within the blast radius of Camel 1 before he falls, and then chain a series of bombs over, and then just do the opposite right there. You can normally get it, I want to say, like 3 out of 4 times, but sometimes the first camel just drops too fast and there's nothing you can do. So before, since I have a little bit of time, major shoutouts to KirkQ for optimizing the beginning part of this game. My original world record runs did not have nearly this much optimization through the first half of the game. Like, I had a couple of tricks that I could do in the second half, but the first half was not as nice. Sorry. So I actually didn't mean to take damage on the second eel, I just kind of ran into it on accident, but the first eel you'll see that I threw a bomb through instead of kicking it through, and the bomb kind of like traveled through the eel even though it made it go back in. You can use this to your advantage throughout the level and get through these eel parts very slightly quicker than you're supposed to if you get the bomb throw right. Also, shoutouts to getting wild. So if you put a bomb down and do a forward throw, you can normally actually hit both of the eels there, but you can see that I hit the second one. Normally, even when you mess it up, you can just get through there about as fast as you would have anyway, so it's pretty much worth it to go for it every time. Switch to Kaiman for these damage boosts, and coming up, I'm going to be dropping a bomb, running over these shells, and then throwing it at this guy. That setup keeps that guy in that spot for long enough to blow up everything, get the fire up that we didn't in the last stage, and also get a lightning card. Also, that feed should have went to Antler, but I didn't switch fast enough. That's why I'm spinning around in circles angrily right there. Lightning cards, I'll explain later, but just remember that I picked this one up, and it only took about 6 seconds or so. So, either switch to Antler here, or switch to Antler after this bomb blows up. And the skip saves about 2 seconds, I think. Charge a big bomb. You don't actually have to hit this with a big bomb, but I think big bombs' explosions last longer. Put a bomb down and kick it over, and you'll have just enough time to cross through these logs without having to wait on the middle part. If you just play through that part normally, you're normally going to get hit on that middle island. And right there you can see me successfully getting through there with one bomb. Before we end the level, again, run over here and pick up a couple more feeds. I actually got really lucky because normally one of those 3 feeds just despawns. There's not really anything you can do about it, but I guess I can explain that now that I have time. So I used to think that it was just random when feeds despawned, but KirkQ commented on my video and said that there may just be a 1 in 5 chance for the feeds that are random, I guess, for there to just not spawn one. So there's 4 different Charabom stats. I haven't explained this yet, but there's 4 different Charabom stats and then Charabom potions. Feeds in the game will either level up a random stat pretty much, so you get like a quarter level, or the potions level up one of everything right here, so you get a full level. So it's technically worth it to go for potions, but most of the potions are out of the way. Um, that throw right there is actually a little bit more difficult than it looks because you have to do what's called a flick throw. Um, when you do just a neutral throw with Antler, your bomb throw goes way higher than it normally does. And when you do a forward throw with Antler, where you're holding a direction when you throw it like that, your bombs go farther than they normally do. And you can kind of combine this a little bit if you just flick the control stick instead of holding it, and get a really high throw that actually has a little bit more distance than it's supposed to, and get down that ramp a little bit early. Um, and you'll see that I glitched over that guy right there. We're going to be abusing the fact that this game handles height really awkwardly throughout the run, but mainly in a couple of specific parts. And we're going to be picking up lightning card number 2 and a couple of extra feeds here. Just know that we're ultimately trying to collect 5 lightning cards throughout World 2, because it saves a significant amount of time on the boss, as you'll see. So this ghost right here actually can't be killed until you go up onto this platform cliff thing on the right. It's just invincible until you get up there, and it's really annoying that they did that. You can save a very little bit of time if you wait to cross onto the ship as your big bomb's blowing up. Normally animations in this game, you can just walk through them. Like right here, I can walk through as soon as the bomb blows up. I don't actually have to wait. That one was actually probably the closest I've ever had, where it was like maybe only a couple frames after the bomb blew up. But you can see that you can cross through stuff like before the animation finishes, technically. But on that ship that we crossed over, you can actually get hurt by the pole if you wait, so... Okay, so for right here, you can switch. You can actually do this with Antler too, but since we have Stegodon and don't really use them very much on the run, I like to kind of use them here. You can see that I'm kicking bombs basically through the wall of the ship onto the top of the level and sniping guys that haven't technically spawned or shouldn't have spawned yet. Not necessary, but since this is an auto-scroller and these guys do have a habit of getting in your way pretty badly if you just leave them there, it's kind of worth it to go for. I like to switch to Antler here just because I'm going to need Antler in the upcoming fight. You can save 1 second here if you wait on putting your bomb down until he turns to that point, because then he'll commit to a fireball attack. He actually has another attack where he like brings out arms and tries to hit you or something, but it's slightly faster for him to do the fireball attack because that attack can blow up bombs of yours. So you can kind of use that to your advantage and blow up a bomb faster than just waiting for it to blow up by itself. So in the upcoming boss fight, we're going to be needing to get 2 lightning cards. We get lightning card number 2 from this fight for just finishing it under 3 minutes. You'll see me get it on the final hit, so you don't really have to worry about that one. The first one is kind of annoying because there is a possibility that you can miss it, and if you miss it, it's kind of a pain to get it again. It's really uncommon. I've probably only had it happen like twice or 3 times out of the 80 runs or so that I've done in this split program. So don't count on missing it, I guess, but just be aware that it is possible too. So as the fight's starting, you want to immediately drop a bomb and start charging it, run over to the left, and wait for her to start walking towards you and do a flick throw. If you do it perfectly, you can actually get away there without getting hit, which makes setting up the stun lock a little bit easier, because you have like an extra half a second before she runs away. But because of that, it's really useful to just make sure that you're really on top of charging your bombs like as soon as you can. You can kind of buffer this in this fight by holding a bomb in your hands, since you can only charge one bomb at a time anyway. You'll instantly just start charging a bomb as soon as you can. Run off to the side right here, because she's always going to turn like that, and you can stun her right there. I actually messed it up right there, but it ended up being okay. And at 1.5 heart, she's going to go into her Gorgeous Showtime attack. Stand right in front of her and do a forward drop into her, and you'll stun her. If you get hit by the cones normally, like if you just walk into her and get hit by him, she'll do an attack and like bump you out of the way. But since the cones just stun you, and since she's also stunned, you can just walk out of there without taking any damage. So that was actually a pretty good fight, even though I slightly messed up in the heart, or the 2 heart hit, I guess. But you can see after the area finishes that I get 2 lightning cards here. Just thought I would point that out again. Alright, so for the beginning of this level, you can use little bombs to either activate the switches or seesaws that we're going to be doing. Because of that, you can actually slightly speed it up by abusing the enemies right here. You can see it kind of takes a little while if you're stuck waiting for your bombs to blow up, but if you get the enemy targeted onto you, you can use the explosion of getting hit to blow up slightly faster than just putting a bomb down and waiting for it to blow up. That the guy before Motor Bomber normally always targets you, so it's pretty consistent, but the first guy is random if he'll target you or not. So for this minigame, it's really important to let go of the A button before you move left or right. If you are like me and just skipped the instructions every single time you tried to speedrun this, you probably didn't know that you actually save like all of your speed pretty much if you let go of A and move left and right. If you just try to move left and right normally, that minigame becomes extremely difficult. I didn't know that for the first, I want to say, like 7 or 8 months of me running this game, and a lot of my runs would actually die here just because I either barely scraped by with under a second left or didn't make it because I hit something. You can glitch out the camera. Oh, I didn't really do it that time. So every other seesaw in this level is going to require a big bomb to get through. You can always do that run right there to set up that big bomb right away, but every other enemy in this level is randomly positioned, at least with the Higgy bandits and stuff. I tried to do a throw right there to speed this part up, but I missed. So you can just do a drop right there. You can actually drop it down in there. You don't want to throw big bombs at these guys because they'll kick them back to you, and it wastes 8 seconds plus however long it takes for them to do their animation for that. Run over here after you put that big bomb down and double tap A really quick, and you'll throw a bomb up here before the ice goes up, and then you can do a really tight kick right there and put a bomb in and run away, and you'll have just enough time to blow up all those jars and pick it up optimally, I guess. Right here is actually a really, really recent optimization that just saves like maybe a second or so. But it saves you having to wait for the seesaw again. Put a big bomb down and then just run into that guy to damage boost through him, basically. And right here is actually where KirkQ gets lightning card number 4 in that barrel that was right there. I'll point it out again. That barrel right there. But it takes 12 seconds to get to that barrel, so it's really not worth it. Instead of getting that lightning card, I got the lightning card back in World 2 Level 1. So this lightning card route saves at least 6 seconds, probably more, honestly, just because that's also assuming that you do all of those bombs that you need to do to get to that lightning card perfectly. And ideally, when you pick up this potion, you'll be level 17. I'm level 16, unfortunately, so I'm going to have to pick up a couple of extra feeds in World 3 level 2. But you have to basically be... You have to be at least level 17.25 in order to do enough damage to kill him in 2 turns. But it's normally better if you're level 17 and a half or 17.75, I guess. Um, I haven't really explained it just because Charaboms stuff is really complicated, but you can carry partial levels, even though it only shows that you're level 16 or something. Like, I'm technically level 16.75 right now, I think, because the first speed that I pick up is going to bring me to level 17. I actually don't do this part optimally, because I should have blown up both those jars at the same time, so I lose about 4 seconds here. But that's okay, because like I said, I need to be level 17.25 to be able to do enough damage to him. Throw a bomb down here, because you're going to be going down there in a second, and you'll just barely blow up before you enter this minigame. And this is probably the biggest run killer, honestly, just because it's completely random if Pterodon lets you pass or not. You actually want him to either be doing first move or raid guard on the first turn. First move is actually ideal, because you get to do enough damage to basically ensure that no matter what he does, you'll kill him in the second turn. And having him do his special attack right here means you survive with 1 HP. I told you it's extremely tight to get through this fight. And even then, you only have... I want to say it's less than 50% if you go in here at level 17.25. It's slightly higher if you have higher stats, because you're able to do enough damage even if he picks a defending Charabomb or tactic right there. I like to use Stegodon for this part. I don't really know why. Again, I guess it's just because I feel like Stegodon doesn't really get used very much in the run. So I just try to use them wherever I can kind of sprinkle them in, I guess. It actually does save a little bit of time right here, because your bomb kick isn't far enough to actually make it into the hut right there. And an important thing about these huts that I kind of showed off in the last part, you're not supposed to be able to blow them up unless you kick a bomb inside of them. I'll be abusing that in this upcoming part. I got a little clip right there from getting hit by the laser, but activating the cutscene first, by the way. It's not really useful at all, but if you saw Bomberman like pop up for some reason, that's why. Set down a couple of bombs right here, because we'll be picking up those feeds to make the Pommy fight a little bit quicker. You can go fight Pommy right now with a level 25 Pterodon that you just got and win 100% of the time. But it takes a little bit longer if he picks defensive commands and stuff, so you just pick up these extra feeds to make sure that you can still kill him pretty quickly. And coming up right here is a skip that I found, but KirkQ optimized. Wait for that guy to target you, and then put bombs down. Put a bomb down and kick it into him over and over again, and you'll blow up those huts from the outside. This saves probably 30 seconds, because you don't have to lower down the other hut to be able to do the kick puzzle like you're supposed to. You're supposed to go off to the right and basically do another one of those rooms again, and it lowers the hut down, and then you're able to kick through, kind of like I did in the beginning of the level. But those purple guys have a glitched hitbox when they have a bomb under them, and will normally just get out of your way. They won't get out of your way. Normally they're slow enough that you can manipulate them into blowing up those huts right away, is what I meant to say. So because we picked up those extra feeds, Pommy will almost guaranteed be dying before the end of turn 2. The only way he doesn't die before the end of turn 2 is if he picks both of the defensive maneuvers, because he'll basically just barely survive. Your special attacks aren't going to do anything to each other. If you tried to fight Pommy with Antler, his first special attack would kill you every single time. Because it's an electric attack, and obviously Antler is a fish and does not like electricity. So now that we have Palmy, as you can see, I kind of breezed through it right there, but we can hit the B button to detonate bombs whenever we want to, and the run speeds up pretty significantly from here. I didn't actually mean to put a big bomb down there. You can get a text box skip if you throw from just right there. Like, if you go any farther than that, you have to listen to this text box that says move the ice by blowing it up or something like that. Right there, we get lightning card number 5, so we're going to be able to do what we want on the boss. I'll explain that in the next level. I like to just set up all of my bombs at once, and then just kind of mash the B button to get them all out of the way. You can probably do this part a little bit quicker if you're better at it than I am, but for some reason I just kind of have a lot of trouble with this part. There's a lot of health in this level, which is very, very good because you basically need to be at full health going into the boss. Right there, I actually, unfortunately, got sniped by one of the penguins. If the penguin decides that it wants to hit you, like, while you're still in that room, it can fire even though you're, like, well out of its line of sight or whatever, and still hit you. I was actually pretty nervous that the penguin that I didn't think that I killed was going to snipe me while I was on here, but I must have gotten lucky. So kill this guy, blow this up and start charging a big bomb before the ice moves, and you can do a forward drop and detonate right away, and skip having to go back and forth on that platform. If you did it the way the game intends for you to, you'd blow it up, throw a big bomb onto there, blow up the big bomb, wait for the platform to come back, and then ride the platform across. It doesn't really save a bunch of time to do the damage boost, but it saves enough that it's obviously worth it. If you have the health, that is. Obviously, if that would kill you, it's much more worth it to just take the 8 seconds or whatever. I let that guy target me and innocently fire at the wall because I'm basically at... If I get hit anymore, it's going to make the upcoming boss extremely difficult. So I play the rest of this level pretty safe to make sure that I'm not getting targeted on accident and sniped. As you're going to see in the upcoming fight, I do need every ounce of health that I can in order to do it optimally. So major shoutouts to KirkQ for figuring out a consistent method for the first phase of this fight, because it's pretty difficult otherwise. Switch over to Ambler, get hit by this first shot, and then throw up 2 little bombs right there, and start charging a big bomb as you run behind that penguin for cover, and throw a big bomb, and run back behind the penguins for cover. I guess you don't technically have to hide behind the penguins for cover if you know where the fireballs are going to go, but I was playing it safe because, like I said, I kind of need every ounce of health I can get for this upcoming part. So, full warning here, this boss is a nightmare. I want to say probably 90% of my runs ended here when I was first starting off. Once you get more comfortable with him, this boss actually becomes kind of fun, but unfortunately his hitbox is a little glitchy, as you'll see for the first couple hits of this fight, and it doesn't normally work the way it's supposed to. So quick switch to Ambler here, and set up a big bomb, and you'll see that he's launching missiles here. These missiles are the reason why this fight is a complete nightmare, because you're supposed to keep them around, because if you keep all of the missiles alive, you'll skip him having to spawn more. But as you can see, it's a little difficult to actually keep them around and alive, since they like to fly towards the bombs, and unfortunately, having them alive also makes the boss's hitbox right here glitchy. You're supposed to put a bomb down right there and he'll swallow it, but you can see that he just instead moved it. I didn't detonate that bomb. The game automatically detonates it because it's supposed to be triggering the hit for him or whatever, but you can see that it's not always 100% accurate on actually eating the bomb. I actually got extremely lucky. Sorry, I'm not really feeling super well apparently. I actually got extremely lucky in the rest of this fight and didn't have him spawn any more missiles um, until the second half of the fight. Um, this has probably only happened like, oh, never mind, he spawned some here. I was gonna say, I don't think I've ever had a fight where he doesn't spawn any missiles, but to skip even a couple cycles is pretty cool. I'm gonna be playing this next Heart of Damage extremely safe, because if I take any more damage, I kind of messed up doing this fight optimally. You can see right there, I accidentally blew up the bomb a little too early. Um, the boss was still invulnerable from the previous hit. Um, so after he drops down below 2 hearts, he's going to be getting an extra attack. Basically every boss in this game gets an extra attack once it drops down below 2 hearts. Or half health, I guess, more accurately. Um, at 2 hearts, he automatically snaps to wherever you are and will eat the bombs. Like, instead of only turning around like 20 degrees or so to a side, he'll turn to wherever you are. And you can see there that I dropped below 2 hearts and triggered Max, who did a full heart of damage to the boss. That is the reason why we want the lightning cards. Max only comes if you have 5 lightning cards in a world and end up taking enough damage in the boss to fall below 2 hearts. If you have less than 2 hearts coming into this fight, or if you have less than 2 hearts after the first phase of the fight, Max won't work. And you kind of saw it after the Max cutscene. I didn't really explain it super well because I was still busy explaining Max, but the boss did an attack where it just sat there and launched missiles for about 10 to 15 seconds. You can't do anything during that attack, so it's obviously best to do the full heart of damage once he gets that attack, because obviously it wastes a bunch of time if you're just sitting around waiting. Okay. Um, so I figure I should probably throw this here since we have about a minute of cutscenes or so. Um, Cutscene mashing in this game doesn't really do a whole lot. You're basically just trying to make sure that you're advancing to obviously advance into the next text box as fast as you can. But since you have to wait for the voice clips to finish before you can actually advance the text, this is unfortunately as fast as you can mash. It looks like I'm just taking this part really slow, but you can see in the bottom right corner, there's basically the text box kind of extends a little bit when you're actually able to mash to the next screen. So you're basically just trying to make sure that that doesn't pop up, because that means you're doing it ideally. So even though the first 2 hits of that fight didn't go well, I'm actually kind of glad they didn't go well, because I was able to show off how glitchy that fight is, unfortunately. But after the first 2 hits, that fight actually went extremely well. I was really happy with that. This boss is the first example of bosses that we're actually able to slightly manipulate. I say slightly for this guy because I haven't totally figured out where to stand to make sure that he doesn't do the attacks that I don't want him to do. But there is a way to basically just trick him into doing the average attack, I guess. He has a quick attack that you want him to do, which is his twister attack, where you can hit him before he even attacks. He has an average attack where he like dashes back and forth across the stage, and then he has a long attack where he does a carpet bomb. If you stand in this corner right here for the first 2 hearts of damage, he will always do this attack. It works 100% of the time for the first 2 hearts. Unfortunately, it doesn't really matter because you don't really want him to do this attack for the first 2 hearts. You actually want him to do the twister attack. You can see I'm trying to manipulate it here by standing in a slightly different position as I blow up the bomb. But there's not really anything you can do if he just keeps dashing back and forth. I thought I thought it was funny because learning this boss was kind of a nightmare when I was trying to do it normally, and then I figured out that you can just literally stand, like, you don't even have to move, you can literally just stand in this corner and blow up bombs if you want to, and he'll just keep doing this. After he drops down below 2 hearts, he gets his carpet bombing attack, which he's unfortunately going to show off a lot in this fight. I got it twice, and I actually got the worst iteration of it both times. Um, it's random on if he does 2 sweeps across the map or 3. Like, he can come down and be able to be hit right now, but unfortunately he decided to do one more attack. Um, because of this fight actually went pretty poorly, in my opinion. Um, this wasn't exactly the greatest part of the run, but there's not really a whole lot you can do to control it. And I thought I actually had him doing a quick attack here because he flew over to me, but he was just doing an average attack, but that's okay too. Because, like I said, it's obviously better that he does this one than the carpet bombing attack. Which, just to be an ass, he does it again. You can throw a bomb up on top of the level, which should technically hit him, but he's unfortunately invulnerable during this attack. And like I said before, I actually got really unlucky here and ended up having him do it 3 times each. Sorry, my throat's really scratchy today for some reason, but I just really wanted to get this run up. At a half a heart, he's going to be doing this attack where he flies across the map in semicircles and stuff. If you rotate the camera, this attack becomes pretty ridiculously easy to avoid. So yeah, that fight didn't go super well, but that's okay. That's like the main source of RNG in this run now. The World 4 boss also kind of has some, but this is the only part of the run where it really affects stuff still. Alright, so this level's gonna be pretty self-explanatory for the most part. There's a couple of glitches that we will be using to speed things up here. But for the most part, this is actually one of the most straightforward levels in the run. Um, it's just kind of all about doing stuff fast. Um, we're going to be using the purple enemies here again. If you put 3 bombs down, you will guaranteed always have an extra bomb down to detonate them right away. And you can see it's easier, or even easier, to use the purple enemies to glitch when you have remote control, because you don't have to sit there and wait for your bombs to blow up too. Um, right here, we're going to charge a big bomb and actually go get P-Dragon. P-Dragon isn't actually required for this run at all. You can technically get through the entire game with just Pommy and Pterodon separated. It's just significantly more difficult, and since there's already so many reset points, it's very worth it. On top of that, we actually found a skip, KirkQ, I guess more accurately found a skip, where you can use a pretty complicated bomb jump to skip a tutorial in an upcoming level. You'll be seeing that later. I kind of messed it up a little bit at the first couple tries, but end up making it. So coming up here, we're gonna have minigame number 2. This is where the minigames kind of start getting less fun and more chore-y. This minigame, you have to mash the B button while trying to lay your bombs with A, but you can only have one at a time, and you have to pick up a bomb up before you get it. So you drop one bomb down to get the thing behind you, and then basically just mash B, run around, and then try to hit the yellow switch again. Which sounds very easy, but these boulders kind of have a really weird hitbox, and sometimes it looks like you should be able to squeak by them on the right, but you can't. I didn't get it that time and actually got pretty lucky, but just be warned that that game is a little bit glitchier than it looks. You can actually skip this guy having to fire off a laser down that hallway if you hug that wall that I was hugging tight enough, but I didn't get it. It's pretty hard to get it, but that's okay. This part's a little sloppy just because I think honestly I was talking to my girlfriend or something when I was doing this level. I don't remember what was happening, but I was not at 100% focus, and it's very clear. um, so these enemies coming up are kind of a pain. So even though you don't technically have to kill them, I kind of go out of my way to do so. Um, it's just kind of a nightmare when you're trying to get all these bomb kicks and then it just like hops onto your bomb and it's just like, nope, try again. So for this part, this is the only really like tricky part of the level. Put a bomb down right here and kick forward. Um, if you get unlucky, you'll take damage, but most of the time you can just do it with one kick and get in there okay. Um, Trying to do that bomb kick, I think the game, or the way the game intends for you to, which is like kicking it between the lasers and up, is really complicated, so it's really easy to just stand right there instead and kick it in. Um, Here we actually have one of my favorite levels in the run. I'd probably say the last level is probably my least favorite just because there's like nothing to it at all besides just running through it as fast as possible. Um, but this is the only like vertical level in the run. So basically what we're trying to do is hit these 5 switches. I was actually trying to use the purple guy glitch there again, but I blew him up a little too early. But what we're trying to do is hit these 5 green switches so we can get to the top of the tower. Throw your bomb from right here and throw it across that way, because if you throw it behind the jar, um, for some reason it'll glitch out and like fall down in that crevice like 90% of the time. Like even if you don't really think that you're anywhere near, you'll normally hit it. There's a text box skip if you throw from right here, and make sure that your bomb lands on the blue brick. If you go any farther than that, you get an explanation on how these platforms work, where you have to throw a bomb and then blow them up and they rotate. But you have just enough room to be able to make it by with a bomb throw right there. Oh, and I guess I should probably point it out. The movement of these fire guys is completely random, and their hitbox is pretty ridiculous. Um, I kind of got hit in, like, the one I probably shouldn't have gotten hit on, but their hitbox is pretty ridiculous, as you'll see in the boss fight coming up. Um, if you need more health for this upcoming fight, I'm going to be showing off a heart also, because it's not really required that you're at full health, but it's a lot nicer to be at full health than not, because you probably are going to be taking some damage in the boss fight. This is probably the only remotely hidden bomb thing in the game. All the other ones are like very slightly out of your way at best. Um, I actually had to research where that one was because I wasn't finding it in my general routing of this game like a year ago. And right here I actually used the enemy glitch. Thank God I was able to show it off at least once, because it does technically save a little bit of time. Um, those purple guys like to snap to your bombs that you put down to cook and to kick in there. So you normally have to kill them anyway. So since you have to kill them anyway, you might as well use their killing to get you further. And right there's the bomb I was talking about. Right here is actually a strategy only I do. Blow up both of your bombs once you get onto the staircase to end the level, and then do a quick switch over to Antler. I actually messed this quick switch up and go one too far and end up on Pterodon instead. So I'm going to have to fix that before the boss fight, but I found an almost 100% consistent setup for the first part of this fight, which is good because this fight is completely random and you can very, very easily lose a minute here, if not more. this first phase, he's gonna have these four like element things floating around him. The only attack he does that you can hit him during is when he smashes his helmet down into the ground. Um, so we're gonna be trying to manipulate him into doing that by standing really close to him. He normally does a regular attack first. I've never seen him just do the smashing attack right out of the gate. Or more accurately, I've always seen him do at least one of the laser attacks. So stand right next to him, and then for the next heart of damage, you actually want to back up a little bit and be within a long throw distance, but like, you far enough away that a regular throw wouldn't make it. It's about this far. And as you can see, he did it 4 times back to back. That fight's not supposed to be that easy. Like, he's supposed to be spawning fire guys and mainly just shooting lasers at you over and over again that are super easy to avoid but take forever. I think my initial runs of this guy were, like, a good run of him would beat him in about 40 seconds, and an average run would probably beat him closer to about a minute or so. So this guy is even more of a nightmare if you let him run around, but luckily you can just switch to Palmy or P-Dragon, charge a big bomb, drop it down here, wait for his hand to move, and run away. As long as your bomb explosion hits between those 2 red jars on its helmet, you're fine. You have to be kind of quick, though, because he does have a habit of moving around when he's invincible. And he has a habit of moving just out of the way of your bomb radius. On this hit, he's always going to do that breath attack, so you can actually just run away. You don't have to detonate your bomb, because his breath attack automatically blows up bombs. And I thought I got it here, but I accidentally detonated my bomb instead of letting him do it, so I unfortunately missed out on a perfect fight, but still got a very, very good fight. I was very happy with how this boss fight went, and it was about here that my live commentary kind of started sucking a little bit more as I realized that this was actually a much better run than I thought it was going to be. This was some like very, very casual run attempt where I was honestly just trying to get a run together so I could do my let's speedrun thing. Ended up being much more than that, and I kind of realized that after this boss fight. There's a couple bottleneck points in the run where you're either gonna like get through perfectly fine and save all your time, or just lose a bunch of time for next to no reason, and I was really worried that this boss fight was gonna be like that. This is the only cutscene in the game that you have a conversation with Dr. Ein and you're able to load like all of the text at once. You can actually do a kind of weird glitch here. I don't know how to do it 100% of the time, but I've had it happen a couple of times where on the text box where it says moving on, if you load the text fast enough, you can actually just load only the M. Like, you can load and then cancel the text, so it only loads the M. It's completely useless, obviously, but it looks funny. So you may you may have seen me be rotating the camera a little bit in some instances with LNR. For the most part, it's mainly just to set up bomb throws and stuff, but I think it does also give you a little bit of speed, and it's used here. You saw me do that camera swing. It's used here to be able to just barely make it across that gap right there. I knew this was a really, really good run once I hit that, because I think that was seriously my like 3rd time ever hitting that. And you can listen to my live commentary. I'm like still deciding if I want to go for it like as I enter this level. I didn't get over here as fast as I could have, otherwise I could have made that cycle on the first time too, but I don't really mind waiting for one thing at this point. So right here, we get water bombs, and we're just gonna go ahead and switch to those like right away. The end of this level is actually kind of sloppy. I got a little too excited that the beginning of the level went well, I think. I mean, it's nothing like major or anything, but just be warned that the next minute or so isn't going to look quite as clean as the first minute. So if you switch to water bombs by deactivating the Charaboms menu and flicking the C-stick, you'll be able to switch to water bombs and actually put a bomb down in the water. This is the only time in the run that you actually use this, but whatever. You can actually make that lily a cycle earlier too. That's the first time I've ever not made that lily on the first cycle, um, but I stepped on it a little weird. You can see this boss spawning if you have the camera rotated at the right spot, but I didn't. Um, and I found out something as of this run. You apparently don't need two big bombs to kill this boss, you just need a big bomb and a little bomb. Um, so there's that, I guess. Alright, so if this boss wasn't so easy to kill, he would actually probably be one of the more random nightmares in this run. Um, Playing this boss normally is awful because he has that attack where he swings away bombs and stuff, and he has another attack where he can knock bombs out of your hands. Um, to my knowledge, this is one of the only bosses that's actually capable of doing this, so it's kind of annoying. Um, but luckily, even getting a terrible fight against this guy only loses like 10 to 15 seconds or something at the worst. Um, I got a pretty bad pattern there for a little bit because his bone throwing attack is significantly more accurate than it looks. And you basically have to move when the bomb's already in the air, otherwise you're going to get hit by them. Like, he doesn't decide where to throw his bombs until he knows, like, exactly where you're going. Um, Ideally, you want him doing that lunge attack because obviously it's easiest to avoid, but I had him run into me way more times than he normally does. Um, I'm glad he shows this off once, but he does a Megaton Crush attack right here, and that attack where you see the smoke kind of come out of the ground, if you have a bomb in your hands, he'll just knock it out of your hands. Um, like I said, I think he's the only boss that's actually capable of doing that, off the top of my head, at least. So it's just kind of interesting that they gave such a powerful power to the technically the first mini boss you'd be playing in the run. Also, shoutouts to getting every lightning card on complete accident. Alright, so this is the big skip in the run, and honestly, I had kind of been mentally preparing myself for this all of last boss fight, which is the reason why that boss fight didn't go as cleanly as it could have. There's about a I mean, it doesn't actually look like we're skipping that or like all that much on the map because it's only like a quick segment of the level, but because they're so slow of text boxes that load during that part, it actually saves close to about 30 to 40 seconds to hit this skip. Major shoutouts to KirkQ for finding this. I found a little bit more consistent of a setup. Um, this isn't exactly right. I'm gonna kind of struggle with this because I'm a little nervous at this point, but if you basically put those 4 bombs down and then charge a big bomb, drop it down, and flick down and up, you have to be very quick because if you mess this trick up once and end up on the ground, you can't get back up. But charge a big bomb, drop it down, flick down and up. If you do it with the setup I have, you're actually able to kind of save if you mess it up and kick a bomb instead, because KirkQ's setup uses all 6 bombs and I only use 5. But I mapped this out, so it's basically right at Bomberman's like drop point every time. Um, for a visual reference, you can just use what I use there, but I like to just think about it as putting, after you blow up that jar that has that random feed in it, you can put a bomb down before and after it, pretty much right at the corner, and then right on top of that rock that I put the 4th bomb down on top of, and then you charge a bomb. And when you're in the air, you basically just have to guide yourself between the bombs. Like, if you just let yourself go, you'll kind of just go in a random direction. But you can buffer directions a little bit when you're on bomb jumps to kind of manipulate it a bit more. Just thought I would put that out there. And since I took a bunch of health, or a bunch of damage on the skip right there, it took a little bit longer than I would have liked, but I still actually saved time by getting the skip versus just going around. Because I took a bunch of health damage, I'm gonna just go ahead and grab that heart there. It's worth noting that you should be very careful about putting the bombs behind you on these parts with the boulders where you're knocking them down onto the statues. It doesn't look like it should really be that big of a problem, but you don't have very much clearance behind this thing. And if you like put the bomb on the side at all, it doesn't work. So you'll notice I actually put a bomb down before that cutscene started, and then kicked it into the boss fight with me. Um, this actually allows for a kind of unique skip where you get a bomb off before the boss does an attack at all, and then you can just charge a big bomb while it's running away from you. If you put a bomb down during that fight, even with remote control, you'll normally get hit because he'll like just finish the attack. But if you bring the bomb into the fight with you, you have just enough time to get it off before he is able to attack at all. And since you're stuck waiting for that rock to fall anyway, it actually doesn't waste any time to use your bomb then. It's a really, really, really small optimization, but anything helps, I guess. So if you do the beginning of this level perfectly, you will actually be able to skip an upcoming boulder. I've never actually done it as good as I have here and end up running into a boulder I didn't think it was possible to run into right here. But that's okay, because that's not the boulder I was trying to skip. The boulder I was trying to skip is this boulder, which I obviously just made it through there. If you do World 3 before level 1, you'll have wind bombs, so you're able to take that shortcut right there. That shortcut doesn't actually save any in-game time at all, but it does save two completely pointless text boxes. I think it says something like "keep going up and just keep climbing" or something like that. But just thought I'd point it out for people who are wondering why we cleared out World 3 before World 1. That is the only reason. There's not really any other reason to do World 1 after World 3, after you have Palmy, at least. So for this fight, you have to clear all of the enemies and blow up all of the caves, or the cave entrances. So just set up a chain of bombs between the guys and the cave entrances, so kind of do both at once. It's not really that hard of a fight. And then for here, you just have to charge a big bomb and put it into his way. Now, if you got kind of unlucky, like I did actually, during the Crush Bomber fight in World 1 Level 3, you'll actually have to be careful to not trigger max during this boss fight, because triggering max is actually slower than just killing the boss outright. This boss is actually a complete pain if you come here without Palmy or full speed or anything. It has an attack also where it knocks away bombs, and it's actually like its default state pretty much until it's on the ground attacking you. When it's kicking its legs to the side like this, it can't, like, if you have a big bomb next to it, it'll just kick it off the map entirely. So what you're supposed to do is have it like run into your explosion, but what we're gonna do instead is just run behind the boss and spin it in circles until it's dead. I have no idea how they didn't find this, because that seems like the easiest thing in the world to do. But as long as you stay on the outside of this little dirt circle or whatever, you'll never get hit by the bombs. The bombs will never actually get knocked away, because I guess the fight doesn't technically start until he snaps to you. You can see that I actually took intentional damage there to save me having to run away from the bomb. If you have enough health at the end of the boss fights, you can just take the hit. It saves a couple frames, probably, because I think the getting hit animation is slightly faster than it takes to run away and be safe.
Um, so the rest of the game from here is going to be pretty straightforward for the most part. Um, I have a theory that we would be able to use lightning cards in the World 4 boss to be able to speed it up also. But the trigger for using lightning cards in World 4 seems to be different if there is one at all. Because I've routed out collecting 5 lightning cards and bringing them into the boss like we did in World 2, and it just didn't work at all. I might have messed up during the route, I guess, but I didn't think I had. Um, so for right now, World 4 is basically just get through it as fast as possible. Um, that was the last, or this world kind of had the last like major trick of the run in here. It's basically just trying to not choke, which is actually extremely difficult to do because as you're about to see, the end of the game just has like cutscene after cutscene after cutscene. Um, and unfortunately, I wasn't actually expecting this to be a world record run, so since I recorded it with live commentary and then the live commentary didn't really work out super well, the first like hour and a half of this game obviously hasn't had game audio. Um, as of World 4 Level 3, that's actually going to change. My girlfriend came home during the middle of the run, so I muted the mic, but it ended up actually working out pretty well, I guess. So you can just run around in the circle like this and avoid actually having to like put the bombs down there, but I messed up the bomb jump because I had a weird camera angle. And these laser gates right here are all on a timer. This is always going to be the same if you get here at the same time. Um, it's really easy to get through that part if you just do the rest of the level fast, because the gates literally just move out of your way as you get there. When you get a chance, switch to ice bombs. I do it either here or on the next platform. I don't remember which. Okay, yeah. But you're gonna need ice bombs to get through this level. If you were wondering why we got the elemental bombs, it's because they have all kinds of checks in World 4. Right there, I actually showed off the C-stick menu. If you hold down the C-stick in any direction, and you don't have the Charaboms menu up, you'll instead load the bomb menu, which I showed off right there. That's how I'm switching back and forth between bombs really quickly. I'm just not really actually using that menu. I'm just flicking the C stick until I get the bomb that I want. Um, the directions that are associated to the bombs change when you get another bomb. So you can see there that I only had 4 options. We're actually going to get the item for the 5th bomb right here, so those directions will change after we get this bomb. Um, that glitch jump is actually pretty tricky. I'm surprised I made it look so like effortless right there, but I've easily wasted 20 to 30 seconds trying to get that right. Speaking of glitchy, this minigame is just a nightmare. Um, at this point in the run, even though I had audio commentary, I was just trying to focus because you can very, very easily mess this minigame up. Um, these rocks basically spawn in 3 positions in these things, and you have 1 bomb. And your bomb takes forever to blow up. And if you touch like even the smallest fraction of your bomb explosion, you're dead. And you are constantly moving forward, even when you're not holding the C stick or the directional stick. But you move forward faster, obviously, when you're holding it down. Those bomb throws just take forever to learn, and really, there's not any advice I can give. If you're doing a casual playthrough of this game, you can do a run where you get all of the lightning cards and actually unlock minigame practice from the main menu. I've apparently never done that, but just honestly, if you just keep doing runs, you'll be fine. So I kind of like covertly switched over to Antler there. Um, this boss has an extremely tight hitbox, like by far the tightest in the game. So just stand where I did for the first hit and throw just double tap A with Antler. Run into the back of him right here, and just don't move, and then double tap A to throw your bombs over the lip. Um, if he smashes down onto you, it does a full heart of damage, just as a heads up. But because I had already been hit by my bomb explosion, I wasn't able to get hit by his attack also. So at this point in the run, I'm really, really hyped because that was honestly like the biggest, or the last level that I was like extremely worried about, because that's the last level I like consistently have trouble with most of the time. Um, so it was kind of nice to get through there with a gold split, meaning, yeah. Um, okay, so this fight's kind of odd. I think I end up missing an attack that it looks like I should hit, but because I missed that attack, it ends up speeding up the fight a little bit. I'll explain it as it goes on. But the timing for this boss is really simple. You basically, like, he does a laugh and then a second laugh after he, like, cocks his gun or starts to move forward, depending on what attack it is. So if you just put your bombs down between the laughs that he does, you'll normally be okay. Oh no, here's what happened. He decided to do his cannon attack, so I decided to change up my timing slightly and wait to have my bomb set basically to right when he was doing his attack rather than a little bit after. Um, what this does is to get him to commit to that attack and this attack before he goes into his final attack right here. He's supposed to go into it at a heart and a half and make it so you can't kill him during this part, because obviously his final attack is pretty ridiculous. Um, but because I actually got unlucky in the earlier part of the fight, I was able to get lucky and speed up this part. Um, he does that like fire attack and then like reloads and then does another fire attack. In between him reloading is really the only chance that you have to drop another bomb without him just blowing you up. So even though it looks like you can pretty much just kill him whenever, you have a very, very small window of actually being able to get that off. Um, so for those of you that are playing this game casually, you may be curious as to why I've kept saying that this is, or P-Dragon is the last Charabom that we're getting, when there's a technically required Charabom in this level called Unicornos. Unicornos gives you Line Bomb, which in multiplayer is the most useless thing in the world, but is actually used like pretty extensively in this level to set up kind of complicated bomb jumps. But since we're good enough, I guess, basically we don't need Unicornos. Right here, this is the first time I've ever messed this up in like a year of me running this game. Even during my casual playthroughs, I never messed that up, so you can obviously see that I have absolutely no idea where to go. Um, I end up getting back on track right here. So that was like a waste of, I want to say, about 10-15 seconds. I wasn't actually paying attention to the timer, but drop a big bomb down right here to hop up, and 99.999% of the time you'll make that run. It looks like it's a lot tighter than it is because I missed it, but that is seriously the first time I've ever missed it. Right here is actually where my girlfriend comes home during the live stream. I don't know if you can hear it during the live commentary or not, but it was kind of funny because about halfway through this level, I decided to mute the audio. So as a heads up, as I enter the light bomb portal, you're going to start having game audio also. So adjust your headsets accordingly, I guess. These bomb jumps are actually really annoying unless you have the precise setup, but luckily the game helps you out here. Just stand on these highlighted parts on the red border and drop a bomb down, and you'll just make it in one jump. It's actually like much more difficult than it looks to get through that part smoothly. Messing up one of those jumps eats so much time. This jump's actually kind of tricky because we're not using Unicornos. I messed it up, I think, twice.
Hopefully only once, but I think I messed it up one more time. Oh, no? Cool. Okay, so there's audio now, so turn down your headsets. Okay. I'm gonna turn down my headset also because I don't want the microphone accidentally picking this up. Okay. Okay, so it's just not gonna be it anyway. That's cool. Okay. So you actually want to switch to ice bombs after you get through this part right here. These fire guys can't be damaged by anything that's not a water bomb. So you kind of want to keep your water bombs active until right here. I waited a little bit longer, but that's okay. This is the check that basically makes sure that you have all of the bombs. And coming up right here is a very minor time saver. Switch to wind bombs, kick, and explode as you enter the cutscene, and the leaf will basically be falling as he's telling you to move the leaves. For some reason, I always just waited for the leaf to fall and then triggered that cutscene, but it's much, much faster if you just do both. The main reason I wanted to include game audio again is because this cutscene is just ridiculous. I honestly don't really have very much to say during it, so I'm just gonna let you watch it.
You messed up our construction site! You know this is our territory. Let's get him, big brother! Yes. Be warned, the brotherly power has been strengthened by the bomb elements. Big brother! Little brother! Unite! Build formation! Constructor X!
So as you can see, this is probably my first time to go get water in the run if I have forgotten or something, because this cutscene takes about 2 minutes. This boss is the last real source of RNG in the run. I figured out a slight way to manipulate him. If you have your bombs behind him, he normally seems to actually let you attack him more often than not. But it really is just more often than not. This fight is more or less completely random, to my knowledge, at least. Like I said, because this fight's so random, it could probably be faster if we figured out how to route in lightning cards into World 4. There are a couple of pretty quick to get lightning cards, so it's not like it would be unfeasible. But the problem is that I think that the triggers for actually using Max during this boss fight are different, if we're even allowed to use them at all. The thing is, there's so little information about this game that I don't actually know if it's even possible to use Max in this world at all. The beginning cutscene implies that you can only really use Max during the first 3 worlds, but all of the cutscenes in this game are awful, so I don't really want to put very much faith into that. After about once he gets down to 3 hearts, he'll get another attack, which he unfortunately likes to use all the time. I actually got pretty lucky during this fight, except for missing that attack right there. That was the only real, mistake in the run. And he decided to punish me by giving me the attack that I was just talking about.
That laser sword attack obviously takes forever, so you don't want him doing that. Ideally, if you were able to trigger Max during this cutscene, you would do it after he dropped down below 3 hearts, so you can avoid any chance of him doing this attack at all. Because obviously he walks to a predetermined part of the map, takes forever to pull out his sword, does his attack, and then sometimes can't even be hit after it. I don't know. Even though it didn't really look like it, this fight actually went fairly well. My average fight with him takes about 3 minutes at this point. And he actually was fairly nice and didn't do another major sword attack before I was able to kill him. So missing that one bomb explosion didn't actually waste as much time as it could have, which was nice. I will just be the first to say that I personally am disappointed with how this game ends. When I was first starting to route this game, I was actually like pretty pumped by the time I had finished World 4 because I was like, okay, this was actually a pretty challenging world, and I can't really wait to see what else the game designers throw at me. About that. I don't know if this game was just incredibly rushed during development or what, but you're about to see like the most rushed end of a game that I think I've ever seen in my life. Luckily, that means that the end of the game is actually, for the most part, easier than the beginning of the game, which makes for a kind of interesting run. But during all of these texts and not manipulatable levels and stuff, and bosses or whatever, I don't know, you're just going to see a lot of recycled elements and stuff, and a lot of text mashing. Try to pay attention to the text if you can, though, because clearly the translation team, like, forgot to translate an entire part of the story here. You'll be seeing this throughout World 5. I just wanted to point it out now, for those that haven't seen this game and are just trying to follow along. That's actually one of the reasons why I like running this game so much, is that, like, watching every cutscene every time you're trying to run the game is pretty annoying, but for casual viewers or people who don't speedrun the game, it really gives you, like, the full game experience because you're not missing out on anything at all. I mean, you're missing out on a couple tutorials and a little bit of some levels, I guess, but nobody needs that anyway. Alright, so in this level, they tell you to do a bomb barrier. They don't tell you how to do this, though, and if you look in the instruction booklet or anywhere in the game, it doesn't tell you how to do this. What the game is saying right there with the bomb barrier is if you hold a bomb in front of you with X, you're able to deflect shots away. It's pretty useful when you're starting to run this game, but you can actually manipulate these cannons pretty easily, so you don't really need to do that at all. Those higgies are random, so you're normally going to get hit by those. And you can just make it through there in time before that guy snaps back around. These are the faster coin enemies from World 2. Right here, I was a little busy laughing at the fact that that guy's shot clipped through the ground. That's not super common, so I'm glad I was able to get it during the world record run. It's just kind of funny that it happened. Right here you need light bombs to be able to get through. And then you have to do a quick switch to wind bombs and lift that leaf up. Charge your bomb as you're going down the leaf to save the most time. Drop in front of you and then just drop down and put a bomb down there. And then get across. And if you do that, you'll enter this as those guys are like firing their far away shots and not have to worry about getting hit there at all. Those guys are actually extremely accurate otherwise. So just thought I'd point that out. So you're going to be seeing a lot of these cannons because they're kind of all over the end of the game. Um, just as a heads up. They do a full heart damage, as you saw right there. So you want to kill them as fast as possible, obviously. If you have a big bomb charged before, you don't need any big bombs to like activate any of these switches and stuff. So you can immediately detonate your big bomb upon the shields going down. There's a matching heart over on the other side, over here off to the right, if you need it. But I opted to just try to save a little bit of time. Sub 2 on that level is actually pretty good. I think it's actually probably the best I've done in an actual run. Yeah. So for all of the RNG and stuff in this game, it's really, really nice that the final mini-boss in this game has absolutely none. This fight is 100% manipulatable and will go the exact same way every single time as long as you don't miss a hit. And I mean, technically it'll still go the same even if you miss a hit, it'll just take another like 30 seconds. Because his last attack is very, very, very time consuming. So I charge a bomb here to demonstrate that you can't hit him on the first time he appears. I just wanted to point it out. After the second time, his little aura goes away, and that's when you're able to hit him. As long as he has that blue aura up, you can't hit him. Then he does this attack where he throws bombs at you that are supposed to just disappear. But if you're right next to them, as they land, they instead just stay appeared and blow up right away. I use that to actually hit him with his own bomb. You don't have to do that at all, but I like doing it. Run out right after that one guy spins around you to get him to commit to this attack. If you run out earlier than that, he'll instead blow back apart and then do like a really fast version of this attack basically, and it's actually really hard to avoid. So again, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, run out now. And blow him up. Okay, so that's the timing for that if you were curious. Once he gets down to 2 hearts, this attack's going to change slightly. And after his third bomb, he's going to do a little suction attack. You need to be on like the other side of the map, because the hit radius for this is ridiculous. It's far, far, far bigger than you would expect it to be. And there's nothing more annoying than trying to go in quickly to hit him, only to end up running into the tail end of this explosion, dropping your bomb, and not having enough time to charge one before he is vulnerable again. Like I said, missing a hit in this fight is extremely, extremely time consuming because he does this attack once he gets down to 1 heart. I kind of put a bomb down in there just for fun to show that the metal part is technically safe if you want to stand there, but I don't think you're actually allowed to stand there because I think he has an aura around him that like hits you or whatever. But bombs can survive there. And again, it may look like I'm playing that attack super safe, but that's like actually about as close as you can get and still be comfortable, I guess. And to prove how big of an area that is that you're safe, I actually put 2 bombs down there, and you can see that both of them survived. And again, 1, 3. I actually got way too close to him this time for comfort, but I want to make sure I got that hit off quickly. And because I wasn't making my fight intense enough, I decided to throw that bomb like as far away as possible and still hit him. If that bomb would have been like, I mean, a theoretical inch away, I guess. I don't really know how far away that would have been in real life, but if it would have been basically any farther away, I don't think it would have hit him, and I would have lost 30 seconds and had an okay world record, but not a world record that beat by a minute, I yes. Also, in case you're wondering, yes, this level was called the Psycho Elevator, and yes, this guy is supposed to be a guy. Um, just thought I would throw that out there.
Area clear.
And again, Psycho. Like I said, there's a bunch of quality review issues with the end of this game. Honestly, that's it.
Destroy the gigantic computer!
So this level is one of the few levels that's actually on a global timer, which means that basically you have to do the entire level perfectly in order to set up the end perfectly. I instead actually was kind of sloppy and ended up getting the second cycle, but if you do this level perfectly, you're actually able to beat it about, I want to say probably 15 seconds faster than me. Right here I actually messed up completely. I just had a complete brain fart. You can tell when I was like spastically spinning in circles right there. I was not happy with myself for switching over to Hamler for no reason. I got confused with the end of the level. You're able to activate that first switch with a big bomb from P-Dragon. It's just been a really long time since I had run World 5, so I apparently forgot that. But you are able to hit that switch with a big bomb from P-Dragon. You don't have to switch to Hammer to throw onto the switch, even though it looks like you should. So manipulating these tractor beam guys is actually pretty tough. You can see I like stood just out of the way for him to do his attack lower than he was supposed to. I messed this part up, so you kind of get to say it a couple times. For some reason I detonated my bomb as I was crossing. I have no idea why I did that, but it ended up making me miss this like twice or 3 times, I think. But you can see every time when I'm trying to trigger that guy, I have to stand pretty far away. If you end up just standing on the switch, like, it makes sense. He's just always going to be on the switch and hitting you. So you can see this level didn't exactly go as smoothly as it could have, but because it didn't go as smoothly as it could have, I actually made the second good cycle for these upcoming platforms instead of the first one. So luckily it ended up working out okay. You're supposed to use Unicornos for these switches, but you can use a big bomb throw with Antler. The reason that this part's so hard is because you have to use Antler, so you have to time your bomb explosions also. But those floating platforms at the end are a nightmare to line up if you get here at the wrong time. Speaking of nightmares, this boss is awful. There's a technically slightly faster way to kill him than I do, but it's absolutely ridiculous, and I refuse to do it, basically, because I've had so many runs into this guy because I've tried to do the fast strat. So instead I'm going to do the kind of fast strat. Put a bomb down there, place a bomb, and you have just enough time to get away before it starts moving again. And then you can switch over to Pawnee as you're waiting for this platform to move and try to kill these coins. I didn't do a very good job, but whatever. Hit the switch and all the walls will come down and then all the sides attack you. So run over to the purple side past these lasers because they activate. Put a bomb down right on top of the yellow switch to stop that guy. And then kick a bomb in. Even if you don't make it all the way in, as long as the explosion of it is inside of the guy, you win the fight. If you wait any longer than that, the sides start to rotate, and then everything just gets out of control very, very, very quickly. So that's definitely a fight that either goes well or doesn't go well. There's not really any in-between for that one at all. And you actually ideally want to be entering this boss fight with water bombs already equipped, but I honestly was just kind of focusing on getting through that level alive first. At this point in the run, I am like just trying to focus as much as possible, because the end levels are basically just don't joke. This boss, I guess, is supposed to be a nightmare to fight. This is the first time I've ever had any kind of difficulty with this guy at all, and as you can see, it still wasn't really very difficult. So you can only hit him with water bombs. Um, if you get behind him, he does this weird spin attack. But as you can see, he's now kind of just doing the same thing that the World 1 boss was doing, where he's just trying to target me. But he's much, much slower, so he's even easier to avoid. You can also see that these giant fire wings, for some reason, have no hitbox at all. Like, I'm not even getting stunned and not taking damage. The game doesn't even recognize that I'm in the middle of him. This stun would still be possible, even if those wings had a hitbox, because they don't. It's just ridiculous how easy it is. You can see the slight amount of difficulty I had with him was not hitting him as soon as the fight started, pretty much. But that's okay. As you can see, this fight is a very, very, very welcome addition to the game after how big of a nightmare World 5 Level 3 was. And in case you're wondering on the upcoming split, yes, World 6 is literally just the last level, unfortunately. And it's not a very long level either. We just have a bunch of cutscenes coming up. Including one where Dr. Ein dies for some reason. Or is about to. I don't know. I'll let you decide for yourself, I guess. I just don't really get the upcoming exchange between Bomberman and Dr. Ein. But at this point in the run, I am, like, severely freaking out because I haven't been looking at the timer really throughout this entire run. Like, I've kind of paid attention to it. But this is the first run where I've tried not paying attention to the timer at all so I could just get through the run okay. And I know there's like 3 or 4 minutes of cutscene here coming up, but I'm still like actually on world record pace at this point. And I think I just started to realize that because the last level was pretty intense. Luckily I actually didn't try to go for any granny strats in the last world, so you still get to see it done actually faster than I've ever done it, because spoilers, end up getting a gold split in my last split, which was a very, very, very pleasant surprise. So in World 6, we have to blow up a couple of things before we can trigger the final boss fight. You can actually see everything we need to blow up during this cutscene. It's kind of interesting that they do that. But those 2 cannons in the front, the 4 jet engines, and then the 3 cannons in the back are what we have to blow up in order to trigger the cutscene for the final boss fight against Space Hulk Hogan. It's kind of cool that they showed you everything that you actually need to kill before the boss fight starts. It makes it very convenient for routing purposes, I guess. And this is the cutscene I was talking about where Dr. Ein's starting to die for some reason.
You made it. A gigantic battleship. No, it can't be. The rumored Armor Joe, it's been deployed? We have no time. Bomberman, you must infiltrate that bomb element. You must. You must. Good luck, Bomberman.
Or he's a smoker. I haven't been able to tell. But either way, I think that's something that should have been translated into the game at any point before the final cutscene, pretty much. Alright, so Armor Joe. Starting off, you're going to want to switch to light bombs pretty much right away, because the first phase of the final boss needs light bombs for you to be able to hit him at all. Also, it's completely unnecessary how many times they basically just show this guy taunting you for no reason. Like, any one of these 3 times that they showed this cutscene basically would have been fine, but I guess they really wanted to hype you up for a not very hype final boss. It was hype in this run, but most of the time it's pretty easy.
Destroy the battleship.
Alright, so like I said, switch to light bombs when you get a second. This first cannon's always just going to fire forward, so you don't have to worry about anything. When you kill this cannon, the second cannon will start to turn heal. So if you're off to the side right there, you can get him to safely fire off to the side. For some reason, these big bad cannons, you can run into them and not take any damage at all. So you can use that to run into them and then immediately blow up your bombs and not take any damage from your bombs. Slight time save, really just kind of to make this level more convenient, I guess. That felt really cool, because normally those hammer fist rocket guys kind of are pretty annoying. And if you charge this bomb and leave this guy off screen, he's not really a problem at all. I'm like very excited that the beginning half of this level went so well though, because there's not really very much more at this point. At this point, I know I basically just have to finish the run to get world record, so I'm feeling pretty confident actually. Run into this guy again to just blow up that bomb right away without taking damage. You can technically save 4 seconds here if you put a bomb down to blow up all 3 of these cannons at the same time. I think it's basically just the intersection is right where I'm standing right now. But I haven't actually worked it out and optimized it enough to use that yet. Alright. So, the final fight is coming up here after this awesome cutscene again. For the first 2 hearts of damage, you need light bombs, and then you have to switch over to water bombs for the rest of the fight. I mean, I guess you don't technically have to use water bombs for the rest of the fight, but I do. So for his first attack, he's going to spawn these light balls around him, basically. If you time your hit to blow up the light ball and him, you'll always have an opening available to put a bomb down next to him. After a while, he disappears and becomes impossible to hit with any bomb that's not a light bomb, which is the reason why you need them. After you do 2 hearts of damage, he's going to go into this fire attack, where he has a fire ring around him and then starts launching fireballs. Obviously, water bombs get rid of fire, so you want to basically just put your bombs down. If you need to damage boost to avoid taking a full heart of damage from your hearts, these little spinning cone things, for some reason, only do a quarter heart of damage, which seems a little unnecessary on the final boss of the game. I kind of took this part a little bit safer than I needed to, just because I was only at 2.5 hearts. Each of these fireballs does a full heart of damage, and I was pretty worried about just choking really, really hardcore, so I really just wanted to play this part pretty safe. But even playing it safe, you're still able to do it quickly, because this guy's kind of a joke. And right here I know I have record. I thought it would be cool to keep the original commentary, my live commentary for this part, so here you go. Oh my god, fuck yes. Okay. So, sorry for those of you that have been watching this run live, because you may have noticed that my live commentary is kind of all over the place. My girlfriend actually ended up getting home towards the end of World 4 Level 2. I've actually been hiding my splits. Holy shit, this run went so well. Well, this is the new world record. It beat the previous world record by about a minute. I had pretty solid RNG throughout. Obviously, I lost time on a couple of my splits, but for the most part... Wow. Alright, I'm super happy with this. Thank you all for encouraging me to keep going for this. I will be downloading this mod soon, probably in the beginning of next week or so, and trying to make a full commentary, like level by level breakdown for this for people who are trying to learn this game. But for now, I'm just going to let the credits roll. I just wanted to get my live reaction on here. Thank you all so much for watching and supporting, because it really kind of kept me going. Obviously, running a game 80 times is pretty light, even in speedrunning terms, I guess, but I'm just super happy to have my first, like, legit world record. Enjoy the credits, I guess.
So I actually I had my video muted when I was doing this, so I might have actually ended up kind of talking over my reaction a little bit. But like I said, I am extremely happy with this run. It didn't go 100% according to plan, but I really don't think I don't really think you're ever going to get a run that has 100% luck. There are a couple of optimizations that can still be made for people who are interested in running this game. I've obviously figured out most of the boss manipulation strategies, but I haven't figured out all of them, and I'm sure that there are some more consistent setups to do than the ones that I use for the bosses that I'm not, like, totally confident in. And if you're wondering why the game kind of keeps, like, glitching up right here, that's not the game's fault. That's because I'm actually excited and checking my Twitch to see if anyone's watching. But yeah, I am extremely happy with this run. But I really just wanted to get a run out there to get more people involved in the community. I'm going to compare it to my best times right here and see that a sub 140 is possible. It will take basically perfect RNG and pretty good execution throughout to be able to get it, but it is possible. We would need to figure out how to manipulate Commander X, especially. There's probably about, I want to estimate about a minute that can be saved if we do that fight, like, optimally, versus just waiting around to let him open up so we can attack him. Obviously, you could do the World 1 Level 4 glitch faster than I did. I lost about 20 seconds on the setup for that. And I mean, just clean up the execution throughout. I guess I should actually probably be pointing this out now. I don't know if this game runs faster or loads faster on a Wii. I did this run on a GameCube. I don't expect everyone to run on GameCube, obviously, but I just wanted to point out that this run was in fact done on a GameCube, which is why I was describing it with GameCube controls. But I guess you can play with the GameCube controller on the Wii U, so I just thought it was worth mentioning. If that's the case, the sub 140 is probably ridiculously easy, just because you're not waiting as long for loading. And I guess if this game actually did become optimized, the Japanese version would probably be faster just because of how much text mashing there is. That's just an estimation, though. I have no idea if that's actually true or not. Um, so, I figure I should mention this again. If you're interested in any more Bomberman Generation runs, follow me at Twitch TV/Siokadelic, SIO_KEDELIC. I'll probably take a break from any percent for a while, just because I've kind of been grinding it out for a while. But I will be working on 100% soon, I guess, and I hope you guys really enjoyed this run, because I really enjoyed making it for you. Thanks, and I will see you around. Bye.